I think let's start. We're five, almost six past now. And then if others join, it's been recorded, so we can also send it out. So welcome everyone. I'm MJ Schumacher. I'm one of the on the board of directors of SAPEX. I was the president for the last 3 or 4 years. Since the beginning of the year, Tata Malloy has taken over. So it's great to see new blood, a very, very active board. And we are really excited about this conference. This is the 47th conference. It's unbelievable how long we've been doing this conference and how well we've been doing this conference. And it's actually recognized globally as a leading event, dedicated to advancing supply chain management. So 8th to the 11th of June, as most of you probably already know, it's in Century City Conference Center in Cape Town, and being run by Up Avon, a partner of ours for a very long time, very good at what they do. Always bringing us a brilliant conference, and I will hand over to them in just a second. So just to talk a little bit about the conference, obviously we want the industry leaders, professionals, and solution providers to get together. And the idea is that everyone connects, collaborates, and addresses the most pressing supply chain challenges that we have, not just in Africa, but across the world, because many of these things are all very much interlinked. What we bring at that conference, world-class keynote speakers, expert-led panel discussions. It's very, very good networking environment, and solution showcases. So that when you go to the exhibition, there are very, very interesting solutions that are brought to the table, and you have plenty of opportunity also to discuss and review. Hands-on workshops. So on the Sunday of the conference, full of workshops, different subjects, all experts that are bringing those workshops, and very active, right? So it's not always the classroom environment, but actually where you get to do things. Thought leadership sessions, very, very important. We want to know what our leaders are thinking. We want them there so that we can ensure that we are having the right conversations. And we've got some fantastic lineup of site visits. I don't want to take your thunder, Jenny, so I'm not going to say anything about that. And obviously we have some great conference material. So I'm excited about this conference. I think every year that we have this conference just gets better and better. And we've got some great partnerships going on as well, which Jenny will also talk about. So let me hand over to you, Jenny, so you can let everyone know a little bit more in detail as to what's going to happen at the conference and what opportunities are there. Thanks, everyone.
Brilliant. Thank you, MJ. And I've just put a message in the chat. I hope you all know how to get to chat. Don't hesitate to ask questions. You can either put your hand up or pop it in the chat, and we will try and answer them as we go along or afterwards. There's a lot of information I'm going to share now, but we are going to share this PowerPoint presentation. So I've put a lot of stuff into it so that you can use it going forwards as a reference tool rather than me reading the slides and going through all of it. I warn you now, I very passionate about this conference, and I do tend to go on a bit. So if I start to ramble, I want you all to start putting your hands up and saying, Jenny, shut up, Jenny, shut up. Okay, because you are forewarned. Right, I'm going to share my screen and hope that I can do it properly. I had a practice because it's been so long since I've used Zoom. Isn't it funny? We used to be using all this all the time. So here's you can see our very groovy background with the logo and everything, hopefully, and our exciting theme and demand-driven world. This is just a very quick recap from last year. So we had 784 people, top 5 job titles were all senior, middle to senior supply chain execs from 48 different countries. Now I've triple checked that because I couldn't believe we had that many countries. I think that's quite astounding, and it's very exciting for me. I've been involved with the SAPEX conference now for this is my 29th year. And I always say it, I know I don't look old enough. And so for me, I don't think we ever have had that many different countries represented at this event, which was very exciting. Amazingly, 51 presentations, 41 exhibitors, and 20 sponsors. This is something for you to read if you need to motivate anybody to let you come to this conference. There are so many things that make it special, but this is kind of just putting it into words of short paragraphs. But I think the essence of it is that something incredible happens when a group of like-minded people get into a room together and they share what they all have in common. And in our case, that's supply chain management. The vibe, the dynamism, the whole everything about it is so exciting. And I know it's true of every profession, but this is ours. So this is our moment once a year to really know that the next person you're going to bump into at the venue, you immediately have something in common with. So you can immediately start talking about what we're all passionate about, which is supply chain management. There's no need to be shy with anybody. So that's a great, for me, that's really what it's all about. MJ also set the scene about just making sure that we're all up to date with what's going on in the profession, not just in South Africa, but around the world as well. The world is getting so much smaller. There's so much going on that we need to keep up with all the time. Other people have different experiences. People don't understand supply chains in Africa a lot of the time. So it's a great opportunity for us all to share our experiences and our knowledge. The milestone event in 2025, which is what MJ mentioned, is that this is the 47th year. Probably a lot of you on the call weren't even invented in those days. 47 years is a pretty strong legacy. We've got someone on the call called Ken Titmus, and I think he's been to nearly 47, haven't you, Ken? 32, I think, at last count.
No, it was 37. I missed the first 10, unfortunately.
37. Well, that's still a pretty good record. Well done.
Yeah.
The venue that we're in is the Century City Conference Centre. The beauty of this venue is that it is ours. Everybody you meet in that venue is either working at the venue, so you need to be nice to them so that they'll get you lunch, dinner, drinks, but also anyone else is either a delegate, an exhibitor, a sponsor. They are something to do with our event. So it's a fantastic networking opportunity. You know, even a quick trip to the loo, who knows? We had somebody who met someone who later on offered them a job as they were standing in the ladies washing their hands. Anything is possible at this event, and this venue lends itself really, really well to a self-contained environment. This is our big exciting thing for 2025, is that we have the demand-driven world for the first time in South Africa and at the SAPICS conference. Now we've got Carol and Chad on the line. I don't know if you would both like to say something. I'm just going to run through this slide quickly, and then I'd love to hear from either one or other or both of you. We're very chuffed that they have entrusted us with this event. Ken has been a great proponent of the demand-driven methodology and has really introduced it to SAPICS before anybody else almost understood it. Carol Patak, who you might have heard speak earlier, has been out here on numerous occasions in the past, really helping us to promote this whole ethos. And it's so exciting for me to see that we can offer these two events at the same time, same venue, and give people really such a great choice. I've put in here that Carol Patak is a supply chain hall of famer. This was coined by another person you'll meet at the conference, Scott Luton, who, when I was talking about the keynote speakers, he was very embarrassed to be put in the same bracket as Carol because he holds her in such high regard. So there you go, Carol. Earlier on, we were talking about the elephants, and I think Chad is the creative behind those. But just to put them in context, at Supply Chain World Amsterdam, they had windmills, and Supply Chain Frankfurt, they had beer tankards. So it is very clever, and I'm very chuffed that you chose elephants for us. Can I ask Carol or Chad just to say hi?
Hi, this is Chad Smith. Thank you, Jenny, so much. The name of the event is Demand Driven World, so we wanted to make sure that we got out of Europe or the United States, which is where the other Demand Driven World conferences have been. And we also know that there's a tremendous amount of interest and also a legacy of Demand Driven in South Africa with some absolutely amazing implementations and some great stories. So we wanted to come down and we wanted to get some case studies on film, case studies that maybe we wouldn't have access to in other venues. So we've got a couple of great. I can announce two case studies that we have lined up. I'm waiting. I should have some information here in the next couple of days of another one. But the first case study is Emmanuel Cohen, Senior Vice President for Supply Chain for Huda Beauty. And she is coming from all the way from the United Arab Emirates to share their journey with demand-driven MRP. Huda Beauty is a leading global cosmetics supplier and distributor. And then we also have a local case study that's going to be sharing their story. And that is JC Kent, head of procurement at BCE in South Africa. And they've got a great story about surviving and now thriving with DDMRP, the COVID pandemic, of course, with their kind of business. They are a supplier of kitchen utensils, industrial cookware, commercial kitchens, and appliances in the hospitality industry. So, of course, you can imagine the earth-shaking events in 2020 for them, and they were able to not only survive but now thrive. And then we've got a couple of other sessions that we're really excited about. The first is going to be Garrett Zaman, who's Vice President of Manufacturing Digital Twin Solutions for Simeo, and he is going to show how a demand-driven model actually comes to life in simulation, and he will show how to adapt that model through time. It's a stunning presentation. And then finally, we've got Laurent Vigoureau, who's one of our probably biggest demand-driven ambassadors throughout the world, and he is going to talk about how artificial intelligence and experiential simulations go hand in hand to reinvent how we learn about supply chains and how we create breakthrough innovations in supply chains. We've got like I said, we've got a couple more sessions to announce, but I'm going to hold off on that, and we'll get back to that here maybe in the next couple weeks.
Brilliant, thank you. I'm very excited to see JC Kent on the agenda. That particular case study won Africa Supply Chain Excellence Award. So we really are showcasing something that we should all be learning from, I think. So thank you for bringing that onto the agenda. And we're also looking forward to Carol's keynote presentation. She always impresses and always has something to share. And I think for all of us women in supply chain management, this is one of the trailblazers. She always hates me talking about women in supply chain management, but I think it's something that we all need to be extremely proud of and grateful to her for paving the way for this incredible profession to be more accessible to women. So thank you, Carol.
You are very welcome, Jenny. I was just thinking back to the first time I was in South Africa, believe it or not, was almost 30 years ago.
Wow.
And the last time was about 11 years ago. So I think it's about time, overdue.
It's definitely about time, long overdue. Thank you, guys. And thank you for being here bright and early. So outline conference program. For those of you who haven't been to the conference before, it can be confusing. So don't be frightened to ask questions, please. I promise no question is a silly question. We've been doing it for a very long time, and sometimes we take for granted that people understand what it is we're talking about. So when we talk about workshops, we're talking about sessions that are traditionally a maximum of 30 people in a room. They're 3 hours in duration, and they are meant to be interactive, and they're meant to be very hands-on. And the idea of putting them on the Sunday is that it's the first day of the conference. People get to know each other. So if you are on your own and you go to one of these workshops, don't worry, because there will be other people who've either been before or who, like you, haven't been before. But by the end of a 3-hour session, you're going to know so much about each other, because every single one of the 11 facilitators that we have doing these workshops are true professionals, and you have access to some of the world's very best facilitators, I promise you, with some of the best knowledge in the supply chain profession. This year we have 11 workshops, 5 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon. Nearly got my maths wrong. You can choose 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. It's a difficult choice, but somebody's got to do it, so good luck. They are on the website, and there's a slide a bit later that's got the link and everything on it. We're then doing something a bit different this year, and we're going off-site. We're going to a restaurant that has a fantastic view of Table Mountain. We hope we get there in time for sunset, where we're doing a networking dinner, supper, or light snacks and drinks. The objective of this, obviously, is that by the time you get to the conference on Monday morning, you've met so many people, you've reconnected with old friends, that there's no nerves on the Monday morning, or you're just ready to get straight into it. And also, people have said, we just don't feel sometimes like we're in Cape Town, so we're taking you somewhere where you can actually really truly believe that you're in Cape Town by seeing the iconic Table Mountain. So that should be a fun evening. On the Monday, there's an early start, don't shudder, but the exhibition opens early. We serve breakfast snacks in the exhibition so that you can network with the exhibitors. Then we've got a full day of conference, and then we have networking and supper with the exhibitors in the exhibition area in the evening, which is normally great fun, lots of people to meet, lots of conversations to be had. The same sort of format happens on the Tuesday, and it's a full day, and they are quite long days, but it will be worth it. For those of you that register for the closing dinner, it's a great, fun evening and a great way to close out the formal part of the conference program. On the Wednesday, we've got site visits. MJ alluded to those, and I will explain those to you just now. We've got a choice of 5 different ones. They're on Wednesday morning, so you can easily go on a site visit. If you're not in Cape Town, book a late morning, afternoon flight, and you're home by the evening. This is something, again, from a motivational point of view. Why attend? Lots of different reasons there why you should attend, in case you haven't already realized it is an exceptional event. What's new? I've mentioned the evening at the Blowfish, and that is the view, and we hope to catch it at sundown for sundowners. We're opening the exhibition at different times. The exhibitors don't have to have the stressful Sunday setup. They can ease into it and then greet everybody fresh and bright and sparkly on Monday morning. And we close a bit later on Tuesday evening to give them more time with you. We're going to do a bookstore. So Carol, I hope that you bring books for us to sell and for you to sign and talk to people about, which would be really exciting. And we've got some other authors who will also be at the conference. Demand-driven world, we've talked about, which is hugely exciting. And we have put together some conference packages, which make it easier for you to register, whereby you go for the package, you get the dinner and you get the workshops all in the same one invoice, easy peasy, instead of having to decide, go back to get it authorized. It just makes your procurement process a lot more simple. And then we're going to try for the first time to put the learning journal on the app. The learning journal is something structured to help you create your own post-conference report that you can remember all the things that you've learnt or all the things, people that you've met, because this goes by in a very, very, the blink of an eye, literally. So the more you can record who you've spoken to, what key takeaways you've got, the easier it will be for you to remember them a week after you get back to the office, for instance. These are the workshops, and you'll see what I mean about the choice. I'm not going to go through them all now because we don't have time, but have a good look at the different subjects. There's also on the website, the link is there. There are also précis, so there's descriptions of each of the websites and also the facilitators. So you've got the whole thing so that you can really make informed decisions as to which workshops you would like to go to. Obviously, it's not compulsory. If you take the package, you get a choice of workshop. If you don't, then you can choose to book for an extra for a workshop, and there is a small additional fee. The reason there is that small admin fee is really because we found a lot of people used to book, but because they didn't pay, they used not to turn up. So this is really just to safeguard us from embarrassment in having turned people away from a fully booked workshop, and then on the day there's nobody there, which has, believe it or not, happened in the past. Very rude. Here's a selection of the presentations. Chad's just added more, and this is the tip of the iceberg. There are more panels, there are more topics. You must plan. So that's my biggest advice to anybody, is have a look at the program before you even get to the conference and try to plan which sessions you want to go to, because by the time you get there, everything will be going so fast you might miss out on what you really wanted to see. These are the registration fees. I will point out that there are very attractive group discounts for groups of 4 or more, and there's the different package and the standard registration fees. And I see that Claire pointed out there are quite a number of students who are on the call or who registered. And I just wanted to point out that there are academic discounts applied for full-time students. They're very attractive discounts. They make it really possible for you to attend this event. So please just get in touch with us and we will share full information with you. You just have to be a full-time student to qualify for these discounts, because we want to encourage your participation. It's very important. There's a photo Carol was talking about that was taken, now we know, in 2011, but we've got Carol as our keynote speaker. We've got the fabulous Scott Luton. If you don't already listen to Supply Chain Now, please listen to Supply Chain Now, broadcast from Atlanta, Georgia. And Scott has done so much for SAPICS and for the African supply chain community. He started a feature on leadership across Africa, really to highlight and showcase the supply chain excellence on the continent. So we're very grateful to Scott for all he does for our community, and also in welcoming us into his global community. Fabulous Linda Reddy. If you don't follow her on LinkedIn, you should follow her on LinkedIn. Hugely motivational, aspirational. She is a supply chain executive, well, now working in London, but she's South African, homegrown, proudly South African, and supply chain executive for one of our favorite national brands, Nando's. So she's got great stories to tell, and I think that you will enjoy all of these fantastic supply chain professionals. The site visits that we've talked to, great organizations that are opening their doors for our delegates. Newlands Brewery, it's a bit early in the morning, but even so, it's an interesting tour. DSV Park never ceases to amaze people. It's fantastic. And DSV have been one of the greatest supporters of SAPICS for as long as I can remember. Food Forward is a CSR initiative, fabulous organization, repackaging food for the needy, and it's a hands-on food packaging experience on their site. Coca-Cola bottling plant, always fascinating. And then a fabulous organization, Solar MD, that is focusing on sustainable and solar energy, which is so important, and very interesting, and also very proudly South African. So an exciting choice. These are all our amazing sponsors, and I will say it again and again, SAPICS wouldn't be where it is today without the support of these organizations, and we are always incredibly grateful to every single one of them in whatever capacity they are sponsoring. Every bit of involvement is so vital to everything that we do. So take a good look at them, be very proud of them, and go up and say thank you and get to know them on site, because they're terrific support. Sponsorship, there's a whole story about why sponsor. Those guys all know why to sponsor. Maybe your organization would like to sponsor. If you're interested, all the information is there. And these are the exhibitors, and you'll see a huge range of exhibitors. They're all going to be exhibiting different products, different solutions, and it's a very vibey, lively exhibition. And we've got some really fun exhibitors who do fun things on their stands, and it's a great atmosphere and a great little village of exhibition. Again, really great to see these organizations coming back, new organizations coming along, and we just hope that everybody has a fabulous experience at the conference this year. There's a whole load of information about why to exhibit. Again, your organization may want to. They may already be booked and you want to know more about it. All the information is there at that link at the bottom of the page. The app is an invaluable tool. We'll be going live with it probably mid to end April, and you can start to plan your sessions. You can start to network with people. We're very grateful to Demand Driven Technologies for sponsoring the app this year, but it's something we've used now for the last 5 years, I think I'm right in saying, and every year people become more and more confident in it. It's a brilliant tool, and it really helps you. You can ask questions to the speakers. You can put comments to the speakers. It really gives you that interactive element that I think we missed before. And one good thing that came out of COVID, I guess, is the development of conference apps and the way in which we're not frightened to use them now. So this is a great tool. And if you have registered, you will be sent information about how to sign up. There's a whole load of frequently asked questions here. You may have asked some in the chat. You might ask some of them afterwards, if I ever stop talking, which I promise I will do shortly. But I think that it's questions like, I think one of the most important ones is, how do I actually become a member of SAPICS? So for those of you who aren't on the call, there's the link. Those are the people. We've got Claire, Bev and Lesego on the call. Do you want to take your cameras off and say hello, ladies? Or not really? You can just not take your camera off. You can just say hello or just wave.
Hello. I'm on the wrong one.
These are not Charlie's angels, SAPICS angels, and they will help you with anything that you need as far as all the different membership options that there are available. For those of you who are just starting out in your career, it is the single best decision you can make to be a member of SAPICS, especially if you are in South Africa. It's a great community. It's growing all the time. If for networking, for meeting people, it's quite exceptional. It really is. And so contact these people. If you're not a member, become one today. That's your challenge. At the conference, they'll be there. So will lots of the SAPICS directors, who are all volunteers, incidentally. Just want to put that out there. Every single director is a volunteer. They do not get paid. They do it because they're passionate about the profession and they want to give back. And building this community is one of the ways in which they do that. So people like MJ, Ken has been a director before now. They really are. Carol was involved with the American partner, ASCM, for many years when it was APICS. And these people have are all volunteers. So hashtag volunteers matter. Lots more, lots of questions. So have a read through these. If your question is not there and you don't get an answer to it, silly things that actually aren't really silly, like can I park my car if you're based in Cape Town or you've got car hire. Suddenly you get there and you think, oh, crikey, I didn't find out whether there's parking. This answers all your questions, hopefully. I'm sure there are things that we haven't covered, but we've made a good effort to try to cover as much as we can. Finally, just a little bit about Uphaven. MJ mentioned that we've been involved with the SAPICS conference for a long time. This is our 29th year of managing this event. It is part of our DNA. We are exceptionally proud of it. When we first started managing it, it was an event at Gallagher Estate. Before Gallagher Estate got big, there were about 300 delegates and more exhibitors than there were delegates, more exhibition stands than there were delegates. We've come a long way since then, and it's thanks to this community that we've been able to grow and that we've been able to go for 40, well, not us go for 47 years, but this event has been going for 47 years. I would just like quickly to introduce you to my C team, who are Cynthia, Cindy, and Caden, who are all involved in the day-to-day management of the conference. And you will, if you come to the conference, which hopefully by the close of this, it won't even be a question mark in your mind, you will deal with any one of us, or probably all of us. So just so you know the difference between Uphaven and SAPICS, we're very, very associated, but we are also two separate companies. So just to avoid any confusion, I thought that this last slide might be useful, and then you can see who does what there. And I'm very sure that is my last slide. Yes. And so we'll stop the sharing and see if I rattled through that too fast and if anybody has any questions. And I don't mind if you haven't, because then we can get 20 minutes back on our lives. Or you can rush away and go and register if you haven't registered, which I think is probably really priority now. The one thing just to point out, you've got until the 1st of June at the standard registration fees. If you don't book before the 1st of June, if you don't book before the 1st of June, there's quite a big increase in the registration fee. That's really just to encourage everybody to register earlier so that we can then manage our own expectations. So just keep that in mind, because I don't know about any of you, but before the end of May. I don't know about any of you, but I am shell-shocked to realise it's April next week. I don't know where 2025 is going.
So Jenny, maybe we just want to mention there was a question in the chat asking about the dates, because there was the 9th and 10th of June on the slide. So it is the 8th to the 11th. The 9th and 10th is the actual Monday. Tuesday is the actual exhibition, all the speakers, etc. But the Sunday is all the workshops, and the Wednesday is the site visits. Just because I don't know if everyone was looking at the chat.
No, that's right. So I can't see it when I'm presenting, but the so on that, I think the fourth or fifth slide, there's the outline conference program. The 8th is the day of the workshops. The 2 full days of conference are 9 and 10, which is sometimes why people talk about 9 and 10. And I think I used the wrong DDW graphic. Don't smack me, Chad, because he did change it to 8 to 11. But yeah, it's definitely 8th workshops, 9 and 10 main conference program, and the morning of the 11th is site visits. Hope that helps. Those FAQs also talk about things like what should I wear, all sorts of different things. And if you haven't been to Cape Town before, I see most people on the call are from South Africa, but also if you haven't been to Cape Town before, there will be recommended restaurants on the app, recommended things to do on the app. Lots of additional information will be available.
Jenny, I wonder if I could just mention that on the demand-driven side, we're hoping to run an AEF course on the Friday and Saturday before the conference. So that we'll get some more information out about that as well.
Brilliant.
For anybody
Thank
who
you.
wants to know about demand-driven.
Thank you. And Damien, just to answer your question, I don't think it's actually outlined in the slides what the registration fee costs. It is on the website, but essentially for the Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, it covers your basic conference catering. It will cover the cost of transport to the Blowfish for the networking event. It covers your lunches and your dinners, your conference bag, and being at the conference, basically. But it is quite clearly outlined on the app, on the website. If you can't find it, please drop me or one of the team a note, and we'll just outline that for you. Accommodation is not, I haven't covered accommodation. It's not included. We do have special rates negotiated at 3 nearby hotels. You do not have to stay there. We just get special rates because they are the closest to the venue. There are lots of other places to stay in Century City, including Airbnbs and different sorts of accommodation. So don't feel obliged to stay in those venues, but they are all very, very nice hotels. And I think the rates negotiated are good. And again, you can do all that booking through us. Thank you, Claire, for all the links. Very efficient. Stunned silence. Is it time to go home? So hopefully anybody on this call who has not registered will go and register. Anybody who is registered has now got a better understanding of what to expect, especially if you haven't been before. But more importantly, you know the faces of the people to ask the questions of. We're not just an email address anymore. So please don't hesitate to ask the questions and we'll do our best to answer them.
Okay, hello.
Hello, Walter.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Ma'am, I'm a new in South and I'm a full-time student. I see always I wish to attend the conference, but there is something that is concerning me on the side. It's the issue of the distance.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys, you never even maybe recommend one day to consider Bloemfontein because
Bloemfontein.
Yeah, Bloemfontein maybe
I didn't mean to say it like that, Bloemfontein. I meant I was just questioning you. We've never thought about Bloem before, have we?
We did go to Mafeking once.
We did go to Mafeking once. Walter, what we used to do is we used to do a series of what we called the spring conferences, where we would go round smaller provinces. We rotated a smaller event around various different places. And I think as SAPIX gets itself better resourced or more resourced, it's brilliantly resourced by great people, but once it gets more resources, it will be able to spread its community ever further. And I know that, and Claire, take over, but I know that they're always looking for willing volunteers to help grow local communities. So reach out to Claire and I'm sure that she will work her magic.
Thank you, Walter.
Okay.
We are considering a roadshow in 2026 because SAPIX will be 60. And we are hoping to visit, sorry for the thunder and lightning in the background. We'll be visiting different areas that we haven't been to before. So I'll reach out to you, Walter. Thank you for being such a loyal SAPIX member and coming to all of our events.
You are welcome.
And something else that I would say about those COVID years that were hideously horrible, they also did help us to realize that doing this online has huge benefits for the community. So when you do see the webinars that SAPICS organises, do sign up. They're a really important part of SAPICS membership. They're hugely valuable. During COVID, it actively kept the community together. It was absolutely brilliant. We would have over 100 people on calls. And I think that it's something that we need to understand still has huge value. Can't beat in person, in my opinion, but this sort of thing is hugely important. Pregnant pause. Might have to call Cindy up to tap dance.
Thanks, Jenny. I think that's that was great information for everybody, and I think there's enough time to make a cup of tea. Thank you, MJ, for being on the call, and SAPICS and Upper Avon teams, and Ken, and our lovely partners from America. We look forward to giving you a hug in June.
Looking forward
Thanks
to it.
everyone for
Been way
joining.
too long.
You can go get a coffee now.
There we go.
Ooh,
Now you're done.
golly gosh, Hautengas, watch out. There's a very big storm brewing.
We don't have those in Cape Town, so everyone can come to the conference. They mustn't be afraid.
There you go. Great. Looking forward to it.
We only have wine.
Well done, MJ.
But thanks everyone for joining and taking the time to stay. I see most people stayed on the call, which is always a very positive sign. Thank you, Jenny, for the presentation and the preparation. I think it was very clearly described. Nice, the slides, you can't make them too full because there's so much to say about the conference. But I think it gave everybody a good sense of where we are, what the expectations are around the conference. The 47th, Innovation in Motion, a very, very great theme. Innovation is something we need to keep going. I think, Jenny, what you talked about in the COVID years, we had to be innovative to keep going, and that's what we did. So if you have any questions, the Upper Avon team are there for you. The SAPICS team are there for you. Please don't hesitate. I agree with Jenny fully. There are no silly questions. If you misread something or missed something, it doesn't matter. Ask us again. We're happy to go through it. And again, also for the students, I think it's important that we have the students. We have a limited number of special discounted entrances. So if you want to go, please reach out. This will support your studies and support, a lot of us, we learn in theory and then we get into the workspace and we're completely in shock. So I think it's a good thing to come to the conference and actually see it all working and how it all comes together. And especially the exhibition, people that exhibit, there's a lot of fancy software stuff that you can learn a lot from. So please we really want to make sure that we use up all those special student passes. So if your friends are studying supply chain management, have a chat to them, do a road trip. If you're not in Cape Town, it's worth your time to come to the conference. Good. I don't think we have any more questions, Jenny. So thanks so much for that. And wishing everyone a very lovely morning and an amazing afternoon. And looking forward to seeing you all at the conference.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, MJ. Thanks, Jane. Thanks.
Yes, bye.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.